herself as a practical visionary, Kathleen Forsyth has always been more interested in the practical and applied use of novel and innovative ideas, always aware of the impact of human beings and our relationship with our technologies. Isn't that wonderful? Back to some of the words. A talented and creative educator, she was awarded the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence in 2006 for her work in the design of the self-designed learning community. In her own right, Kathleen has published six books of poetry and is currently working on a novel trilogy, The Aisling of Gaia. She is also a mixed media artist with several awards to her credit. She endeavors to live a life of creativity following in the footsteps of her father, the revered poet, publisher, officer of the Order of Canada, and founding member of the League of Canadian Poets, Fred Kongsved Award. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you. I wanted to start today with this drawing of my father, and unfortunately I don't know the artist's name, but you can barely read it, but it says at the top, the tweed-clad shoulders on which several generations of Canadian poets have wept. And I think that describes a lot of what my father's life was about. It was the support and belief in other people's creativity, not just his own. And when I think you have a letter from him, there are 20 lineal feet of file cabinets of the letters that he wrote to people over the years that he was the editor of Finland. Nobody was left unanswered. It wouldn't matter what anybody wrote to him, he always answered them. And he wrote by hand. He answered them by hand. And he did that for 50 years. Recently, the province of New Brunswick has just published a new English curriculum for grades K to 12 and also college, based on New Brunswick writers. And there's an absolutely excellent section on Fred's work. And I picked this out just because it gives a sense of the role he played in Canadian literary history as well. Cogswell's work is unlike that of other Canadian modernists. He valued traditional meters and rhyme as much as he valued the free forms of modernism. As a result, many of his poems are hybrid forms of what is called prosody, the pattern of rhythm, structure, and sound used in poetry. Unusual for a literary modernist, he did not find strict forms confining, but rather welcomed them for triggering new directions and thought. Rather than impose his will on the direction of a poem, he let the verse form take over, obeying what that form demanded. The result of such hybridized technique for Cogswell was as exciting as it was unexpected. For readers, the result presents an unusual interpretation of modernist freedom, the freedom, in his case, to be disciplined by form. Now what I'm going to show you is a series of small clips from a larger film that was made about 35, 38 years ago. Now I only have a rather reduced version on VHS of the film. I didn't have the original. So I converted it to a digital form, and in that there's a slight slippage between the sound and his mouth, so please apologize for that. And the quality is not great. But what it will do is give you a flavor of my father and his poetry, and why he has such an enormous impact on Canadian literature in the last 50 years.
Circular saws. When the circular saw chewed up my fingernail, I said to myself, this is a bad dream and I shall wake up. But I didn't. And in a few minutes the pain began. After that I had a scar to remind me not to go near circular saws. But I soon found they had ways of disguising themselves so that watch as I might, they were always hurting me. Now, inside and out, I am covered with scars. But that is not the worst I've learned. The worst thing is that under the masks I wear, and proud and ending to be, I am a circular saw. I wrote Circular Saw from a memory of an incident that happened to me in December 1939. I was taking away wood from a circular saw, and my hand got caught and pulled onto the saw, and it sliced very neatly one fingernail off. And I thought that this would make quite a good extended metaphor for the kind of things which happen in life and the kind of things which we inflict on other people as well. Form, to me, is always subordinate to the subject matter or the content. If the content is narrative and relatively flat, I will use a relatively flat and simple form. If, on the other hand, there is the need for an elaboration of feeling or a greater intensity, I will very often go to traditional forms, because in many instances the traditional form will utilize several things at one and the same time that a modern form cannot. For example, and in the first lines that come to you, or the first notion of the poem, very often determine.
So the next piece is a little bit about how he actually would write poems.
As everyone for writing is walking. An idea will hit me, and then I will walk around, and I will walk around, and I will refuse to write it down, and I will refuse to write it down, and walk around. After a while, when I do write it down, the longer I can sort of hold back, the more it has been written by something inside me that does this thing automatically. It saves my brain the trouble of thinking.